It's Mufasa.
Oh yeah, Jamie, what's your last name?
Vogel.
Vogel.
Yeah.
It's a good name.
V is
Vogel.
Victor. Means
Vogel.
bird in German. That's why I like to fly.
That's why she flies so fast.
Exactly.
65 on fucking marshmallow today?
Oh, I did. I got 65 on marshmallow today.
Nice.
She also flies both ways. She flies on the board and the double plank.
That is true.
Really?
Don't you?
You
No.
fly on a board?
Oh, no.
My
I
friends
thought
have
you
never
boarded.
seen me on a
Oh,
snowboard.
okay, good.
I take it back.
All right. She seems like that
I know
type,
how
though.
to.
I see into your future.
have.
I knew that.
I used to own a snowboard.
But that
I
she
knew
owned it.
that. I knew that.
All right, so we're going to jump into this next segment. We just talked about the Derby, the Dirksen Derby a bit, and the Derby starts early. It's like middle of December, and right after that, we go straight into the holiday season. Christmas through New Year's. Anybody who's spent time in any major living or frequenting any major ski resort knows things change up a little bit during the holiday period. Some people are all good with it. They love the festivities. They love the people. Some people, avoid the mountain like the plague unless it's a powder day during that period. I'm kind of one of those people.
Sure.
I don't know. But I think it's worth talking about because it's definitely, it comes every year. Every year we're used to that change. And we all love the holidays, but we also like to not wait in line. So we're just going to talk about everybody's personal experiences dealing with the holidays, whether they love it, whether they hate it, how they deal with it. So
Okay, so how about if I jump in here? Because I got a positive perspective.
Okay.
So Ski Mom here. Okay, so first of all, I think it's really funny because Christmas time is actually fall still. I mean, come on. Now,
true.
let's do say the 21st is when
It
winter
is.
starts.
Yes.
So we have this demand of snow. So, got to hold your expectations. But my perspective for Christmas is that I started skiing at Crystal Mountain as a girl, and then we moved to Florida. And so my skiing, the reason I am a skier is because I was one of those kids that came to Mount Bachelor for Christmas, and I skied like 3 or 4 days a year. And I was a shredder, Warren Miller skier. I was going to the teen dance at the Sun River, looking for boys to kiss. I admit it, I was looking for boys to kiss. I was. Skiing around with my cousins at Cap Gun, and I'd go home, and I am a skier. That's why I'm a skier to this day.
is that why you live here?
That's why I live here.
It
because
is.
I would
Those
come
early
here and
experiences.
visit, and then after I graduated from college, I was like, I'm a ski bum. And I was going to go to Jackson. I was at the intersection. It was June. I had another job I had to go do before I went to Jackson. And I got out of my little convertible Bug to get gas, and it was so flippin' cold that I said, forget it, I'm going to Bend. So I moved to Bend.
When was that?
That was, to date myself, 1994. I worked for Four Seasons Sports for Tommy Leaknick. I don't know if any of you guys know that. It's in Sun River. And I had my little Bug, and I'd drive up and down the mountain. And, I was snowboarding at that point because I was kind of made the mistake of getting rid of my skis when I was moving from one place to another in Arizona. And then I was like, I don't have any skis. And then my cousin, who was a professional snowboarder at the time, Casey Savage, shout out to Casey Savage, rode for Movement Snowboards.
Nice, yes.
He came into town. I was like, Casey, I got rid of my skis. He goes, don't worry about it. I got a snowboard for you. I was like, sweet. He's like, I'll sell it to you.
Professional snowboarding, that sounds like it. You got to make the money somehow.
I'll trade it to you for weed.
I'm his older cousin. But it's pretty funny because he sees that snowboard to this day, and he's like, if you ever want to get rid of that snowboard, I'm like, I'll sell it to you.
Movement was a dope company. Matt Donahue, that was an OG company.
Yeah.
Short-lived, but OG for sure.
It's got a One Ball J sticker on it.
They're still around. Yeah. Some of you may notice we have a new face for this particular segment. Jamie, also on social media known as It's Mufasa, has joined us.
Mufasa.
It's Mufasa. This is a social media world. We're all social media people. We all, I think a lot of us have met people first as their Instagram names and then have to try to learn and remember their real names. And then on top of that, we're meeting these people usually with helmets and goggles and whatever else.
I think out of everyone at this table, the only person I met here before I met them via social media was Ray, actually. Because I just met you, seeing you every day in the Skyliner parking lot, but every single other person here I met via social media first.
Well, and both Ray and yourself do have you got some distinct features and looks that,
And you guys actually show your faces. Some people don't show their faces.
That's very true. But Jamie, what was your take on this holiday season?
Man, let's go back. We didn't we get a lot of
Oh,
snow?
I'll set you up. It was no. We had the Derby.
Yep.
And then there was a week of POW. And then 22, 23, 24 into the Christmas was rain.
Oh,
Yeah.
It dumped
Yeah,
rain
pouring
Christmas
rain.
Eve and Christmas Day.
Yeah.
That's right.
People were crying.
That's right.
I don't know.
about
I
that.
still
Yeah,
skied
I
in
remember
it.
We know you like the rain, right?
I mean, I was
I
up
got-
there still, but
yeah.
I just vividly recall sitting on the snowbank in Skyliner by the foot of the truck, and we're just sitting there drinking a beer in pouring rain. All of us have our hoods up,
Oh, yeah.
and it's just
Merry
dumping.
Christmas.
All I can hear is the rain on my Gore-Tex. I can't even hear the people next to me talking.
And you're taking like
Yeah.
3 runs, and it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
soaking wet, like you jumped into a swimming pool.
Honestly, the holidays, I don't know. I work in the service industry, so I go to the mountain and it's kind of my escape. I try not to let the people bother me. That's, it's the reality of skiing at a resort during the holidays. There's going to be people. Honestly, I think it's kind of entertaining. My family used to
Yeah.
travel. We were one of those families that traveled. Like, we didn't really do it much during the holidays, but it's fucking stressful, man. Like, looking at what my parents went through to go places with us, and then on top of it, like, it's snowing and it's busy and your kids are cold. It's like, I don't know, I kind of want to be that local that's like a good positive enforcement. Like, the lift lines are long, but it could be worse. We could be at Vail.
I tell myself stuff like that all the time. Almost that exact same quote right there.
I tell my followers that.
Yeah, it could be way worse. Like, our lift lines are not that bad. I'm just there for the powder,
I think most of us are at this table.
I mean, that
Kinda,
kills
yeah.
me, having come from Colorado and listening to people here complain about the lift lines. And I look around on days when people are just absolutely losing their shit about the lift lines, and I'm like, man, this was like an average Tuesday where it came from. This, like, the worst holiday lift line I've ever seen at Bachelor
For sure.
was still probably not as bad as the average
Yeah.
Tuesday in Colorado.
No, not at all. And growing up in Steamboat, the lines would be enormous. You would end up at like 7 o'clock in the morning at the Gandhi. And you're just like waiting forever.
I think a lot of it here is change. I mean, it's same with any
yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
We've all experienced at those mega resorts, and whether we've lived there or visited. But it's all relative. Like, people here, it was like this 5 years ago, and now it's like this.
Yeah.
And they, I get it.
I don't know. I feel like out of all the holiday seasons, now remembering that it was raining during a lot of the holidays, like, it's been I feel like it was one of the chillest holiday seasons, but also coming off of like COVID years. Firstly, like 2 seasons ago, it was my first season back at Mount Bachelor after living in Montana for a couple of years and growing up here originally. Like 2 seasons ago, parking was heinous. Well, actually, parking was chill because they had the parking passes, and most people didn't understand how to get a parking pass. So it was actually like kind of chill. But the lift lines just sucked because they weren't loading 4 people per chairlift. So lift lines seemed awful 2 years ago. And then last year, everything was like back to full capacity, but we didn't have Skyliner most of the season.
And as you were talking,
So-
Josh, that reminded me, we didn't touch upon Skyliner. And that's something that is a
Like,
good,
we got
perfect opportunity.
Skyliner back this
Yeah.
year, right? So like,
Skyliner opening.
so like
day
last
was
season,
amazing.
it was like coming off of COVID season where there was parking restrictions and like not loading lifts to capacity. And then last season we had Skyliner closed down for 90% of the season. So like this year we had all the lifts open, all the parking lots open. I felt like, there was those days that parking kind of sucked where like if you got up there late, you were parking down the highway and having to like hike a mile to the damn chair. Not even a mile. It wasn't that bad. Like comparatively to like, again, Colorado, like it didn't suck. But like as a local who likes to park at Skyliner, I was like, God damn, I have to walk for a chairlift.
Like, most of these, you got to take a shuttle if you park back. I think you're taking
for
shuttles
sure.
to get to
But like
Having
at
to
the end
walk
of the
to a
day,
chairlift,
like,
that's how I feel now, having to park at Red Chair,
I know,
and I'm all
right?
grumpy. I have to walk up the hill to Pine Martin.
But like,
I had to
at the end
walk
of the
up
day,
that
like,
hill today 4 goddamn
once you got to
times.
the chairlift, like I really didn't feel like there was any bad lift lines this season. There was like 1 or 2 times that maybe a lift stopped for a while and the lift line got bad, but like for the most part, especially through the holidays, it was like once you were on snow, like as long as you dealt with parking okay and you got a spot eventually and you made it to the chairlift, like once you were on the mountain, because we had all of our chairlifts open again, we were loading chairlifts to full capacity for the first time since we've had them all open in the last 2 seasons. Like I think the longest I've really waited in a lift line, barring exterior conditions, was maybe like 20 minutes, right? And like that's not that bad.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And like the holidays are fun. You get to see the families, like she was saying,
Yeah.
and like you get to remind yourself, you're like, oh, that's why I'm not dealing with traveling with kids right now.
It reminds me that I really don't want to travel during Christmas.
Yeah,
Right.
That's
It
why I travel in
reminds me when I
February.
see the families with the kids to look at the dads and be like, dude, good job. Good job.
You're doing great, guys.
Doing
Like I believe in you.
great.
Or the
You're gonna
mom
make
that's
it.
carrying their
Get
kid.
like 2
Yeah.
laps and then get a hot
"It's
cocoa.
okay."
Yeah.
That's mostly what the holidays do for me, is remind me that I don't want children.
After working in
That's
ski
every day
shops
at
for
work.
years and stuff, when I see people up in the holidays, I'm just looking down at the skis. I'm like, okay, so you rented a powder house, you rented a shear shops, and like my homies working all those shops. I'm like, I feel so bad for them.
For sure.
The lift lines were a lot more mellow this year for
Yeah.
the holidays. I feel like it was like last winter was really stressful.
Yeah, and I think that had a
back at
lot
it.
to do with Skyliner not being there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Because we
for
had like
sure.
like 2 weeks of Skyliner before it pressed out
Yeah.
last
Jeez.
season.
That was rough.
So sad.
Yeah,
I feel like it's worth mentioning while we're reflecting on all this stuff too, though. Like, if we sit here and ask everybody, like, what do you remember most about this season? Like, no, I mean, we all had to remember that we had crappy rainy days on Skyliner, and we all had to remember that there, nobody's remembering those things. We're all remembering like the amount of epic powder days that we had this year,
yeah,
right?
for
Like,
Well,
Backside
and you just
powder
said it, like the amount of days. I briefly the other day went and looked, kind of recapped the season, and this was a better than average season, but the amount of days it snowed was super high. Like,
Yeah, we
Every
had
day.
it snowed
Like,
today.
it's
It's still
steady.
snowing.
Still
Yeah.
snowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we've had 4 pow days this week.
I know. I mean, Ski Mom is. You and I have been in Bend the same amount of time now, I guess technically, because you moved here in 1994.
And you're born
I was
in-
born here in 1994. So you probably remember those early years a little bit better than I do. But as far as I can remember, this is the best damn season I've ever seen on Mount
a
Bachelor.
lot of
Like,
people are saying that.
It's not the
So
deepest
good.
season we've had. I think it was like 2011 or 12. We had like 600 something inches. But like in terms of the consistency, it was just like
cold.
cold
Quality.
smoke, like blower powder every day, basically all winter long. It's been amazing.
We had like half the
Yep.
snow of like Mammoth or Utah, but probably close to as many pow days.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about Bachelor though, is you can't end up with too many feet of snow.
No, you
Like
don't.
we end up following each other for like 3 runs, and you're like, no one's cutting a line this way.
You gotta
Yeah.
follow the
Get
skiers.
stuck.
So here's a good consensus question. What is the optimum amount of snow for a pow day at not too much, but deep at Mount Bachelor?
I think
man.
I feel like that
this
could vary
year it was
between
more than
snowboard
years
and skier.
past. Like years past, like growing up, it was a lot of Cascade concrete, and you're like more than 4 or 5 inches, and you're getting stuck everywhere.
You get that dump at 18 degrees, and you can get about 16 inches. And
Yeah,
it's good.
usually we
Yeah,
had some
and
of
Usually
those.
some of the best
There's-
skiing you can
that you
have.
just plow
Yeah.
through.
So you're saying 16
But
inches?
Well, depending on
Yeah,
the
of course,
Depending
of
on the-
course.
yeah,
Well, and it's
consistency
interesting
of the
too because
snow.
the way that the snowpack comes in on Mount Bachelor is it actually is why we have such a killer corn season
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
it comes in, we get these rain events, it consolidates, and it comes in, it consolidates, it comes in. That's why we could ski until 4th of July.
I don't think
No
it's about
problem.
the measurement, but it's about how you use it.
Not the quantity, it's the quality.
It's the motion of the ocean.
You can't see this. You can't see this right
are
now,
you
but
skiing
a
Northwest that day or
bachelor
Cloud Chaser that day?
There was definitely some days this year coming down Red Chair where I'm like, stoked about the pitch on Red Chair, and then you get to the bottom, right, and there's just like that
funnels.
flat haul to get back onto the lift, and I'm like, well, stuck.
Right.
We're stuck. The snow's too deep.
I think like 8 to 10 inches.
Yeah,
That's
that's
just
fair.
like it could be like wet, it could be soft.
I
or it
think,
could be
if you're
cold.
looking at like
That's true.
regardless of snow conditions,
good
like
amount.
if you're around 8 to 10, you can ride most of them.
You're going to be good.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to send the jumps. You're going to be able to ride out of spots,
And I
get the
definitely have a
stashes.
biased opinion because I'm a giant human.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Wait.
Relatable.
It's always funny watching people behind me, and I'm like, where is everybody?
What size board you ride?
I rode from everything from a 160 to
Your deep day board.
what deep day do I do? No, it's only a 164. A 166. I was riding a Nitro Highlander for a while until I killed it this beginning of the season. You could just hear the rod pop one day in the middle of the board, and I was like, what was that?
Did you just admit to murder on a podcast?
It was the saddest murder I've ever
Hey, murder podcasts are hot. Like,
I know,
They're the
right?
rage right now. So we can add a little murder mystery into this
Hashtag
thing.
murder podcast.
What
I broke a
happened
board
to
this
us.
season too, so we got.
I
I'll go to jail with you as long as there's
mean-
snow there.
Hey, I broke a pair of skis too. Let's
yeah,
go.
we got like 20 days left, but I think I haven't broken any skis this season. Knock on wood.
I'm
Yeah,
good on
like-
snowboard too.
I broke a ski boot.
Good thing Ted's not in this combo. He'll talk about his broken boards later. right, so I think we've covered the holiday season, and with that, we got in a little bit of the snow conditions and kind of it's a good little segment. I think we're gonna